There we go. I do believe we're live, so I'll say, indeed, and greetings unto you, beloved and holy friends. What a pleasure it is to have you here again. On another day, another opportunity for us to consciously evolve, and specifically to consider the concept of no self. The concept of no self. I have this almost like soft goal that I set in my mind that I want to not talk about the self that I am. To lean into the no self state instead. And I'm going to try and be very mindful during this stream. We'll see how it ends up manifesting, but essentially, the way I'm considering this topic is a state of detachment. There is pain that can arise from attachment, and especially so expectation in those attachments that we make, a want for things to be a certain way, a quality of exchange, a energy that we appreciate, a perspective that we can be with and find value within, even. And I do think that it's possible for you, dear friend, as a community member, as a watcher of this space, to extract value from the perspectives that I share about the self that I am, about the ways that I've noticed things work for me. But I can imagine it can also be alienating. It can create a sense of separation in the I am that I am and the you are that you are. And maybe there is value to be extracted in a state of no self. I do think I'll have to spend a lot more time opening myself, right? To just be with the self that I am without making it about the self that I am. You ever think about channeling? That you can channel information? Some people believe it comes from different dimensions. Some people like to think about accessing the Akashic records. I like imagining that, and I'm not trying to talk about the self, trying to talk about the thing that the self tries to access, right? Trying to keep myself in line. I like to imagine that our neural density as human beings creates almost like a kind of quantum state. There exists a certain infinity inside your brain. And maybe it's possible for us to know everything there is to know by just getting to know ourselves. And I feel like that's what I've been trying to concern myself with more than anything as of late. Trying to be really good at, or trying to get, I guess, really good at self-knowledge about who it is I am, about what it is I am. You know, and this question of self brings in it a bunch of reflection, right? Do you ever consider the no self perspective? No self is something that I was introduced to by, I believe, Buddhist thinkers, right? And I remember arguing, maybe arguing is a strong word, disagreeing with a Buddhist teacher about that concept. That's one point in my life. One of the Buddhist teachings in the no self perspective is that who you are, who you think you are, at the very least, doesn't exist, right? And that there is a great deal of detachment and peace to find in realizing you don't exist. And it took me a very long time to try and understand what that means. Because surely I exist. Here I am. What do you mean, Buddhist teacher? Of course, the self exists. The self is here right now. However, that's not how I think it's supposed to be interpreted. There is no free will because you did not choose your nature. It's a hot point you're making, Jake. Maybe I didn't choose my nature, but I get to choose my temperament, which I think is even more important. All right, my nature can be angry. My nature can be abrasive. My nature can be silent. However, the way I temper myself, the things that I allow myself to believe about my state of being, I think has more of an effect than my state of being.
Depending on your body's state of being.
Yeah, your body has a lot to say as well.
Depending on the physical state. Depending on where you find yourself. It always depends.
It is true. The self is definitely a it depends kind of perspective. Tommy is still getting spring in Sweden. I'm happy for you, friend. I think our nature leaves plenty of room for free will, Jake. Sam says, agreed. I'd be interested in opening this up a bit more for discussion, though. I think it's a fun place to communicate. Good morning to you, dear Sam. Happy Friday to you as well. Happy Friday to all of you friends joining us right now. Yeah, if you're just joining, the perspective we're going to be exploring today a little bit is the concept of no self. And I have introduced a little bit some of my feelings and perspectives on the no self perspective, but I'll continue to share the way that it has started to make sense to me. Right? And again, the reason we're sharing this perspective is to give ourselves more tools to engage with our lives in a way that brings us peace. I think that is the point of that teaching as well, right? We're supposed to gain some sort of peace from this perspective that we're in. And leaning into a state of no self, I think, brings with it a certain quality of peace as well.
I'm thinking about that video that we you and I both watched separately about how we don't have eyes on the back of our heads, so we can't see ourselves when we're out there reacting, right? We don't know how we're going to react to a thing that we can't anticipate. And so you need almost like another person to reflect yourself back at you.
Exactly. Like it's a good point that you're making because I think it's going to melt perfectly with the next thing I'm trying to share. You have to go? Mm-hmm. Goodbye, Xiao. See you soon.
Bye, friends.
No self. I don't exist. And as a result, I don't have to feel pain about my existence. All right? And like now I've introduced this perspective in so many ways a few times. And I think it would be appropriate for me to share how I see this concept makes sense. For me, what do you mean by the no-self perspective? There Sam asks directly even, can you recommend where I can read more about this? I think if you just search, what does Buddhism mean by no self? I think you'll get a bunch of reading material as well, Sam. But I'll share my perspective on what I think when I think about my own non-existence. There is multiple different versions of the self as you think you are, right? There is, of course, the version of self that you consider yourself to be. I think, right? And it is a thought. I have to think about the fact that I am. I have to think about the kind of things that I keep myself busy with. I have to think about the likes and dislikes I have as a physical form. I have to think about how it is I want to be treated, how it is I can't handle being treated, right? I have all of these values suddenly arising around a state of self that is very attached to thinking, right? There's this constant verbalizing of what it is I am. And then there's a couple of layers that arises from that as well. One, I didn't technically get to choose the fact that I speak a language. All right, I was born into a world where language was already established, and then I had to learn. I can speak two languages because my mom and my dad spoke not English. And then I had to spend time getting good at learning how to communicate in a language that more people can understand as well. And as a result, there is this arising, if you will, of complexity when it comes to the way that we verbalize inside ourselves. That not only is yourself, as you know yourself, right, potentially not real, but the self that you have considered yourself is a construction. And at that, it's a construction that was built with language. And that language has a bunch of quirks, has a bunch of almost like ways to interpret. There are common reasonings within language that we almost like take for granted. We take it as self-explanatory, to say it in so many words, right? We'll think about something and the concept will make sense because of our social attachments to how it is we think, at least from perspective, things are or things have been, right? So there is already within this just moment of us trying to consider who you are, who this self is, right? Layers upon layers upon layers that gets attached to the ultimate self that you are, right? And by the time you have painted yourself, love you, Zhao, by the time you have painted yourself a complete enough picture of who you think you are, there's nothing of who you actually are left, or at least none of it's visible anymore because of those layers upon layers upon layers upon layers that you've put around this concept of self, right? So in that way, maybe who I think I am doesn't exist at all. Because again, take away language, take away my reflections, as Joe said earlier, and that's why I feel like it melts perfectly into this topic. You sometimes need another person to know who you are. You sometimes need another person to say a certain thing to know that when that certain thing is said to me, I'll react a certain way, right? And that's a part of yourself that you maybe weren't going to articulate. In this concept of trying to understand who you are, you would never get there if you didn't have the external perspective. And that's where the opportunity arises for us to move on from a single concept of self to the collective concept of self as it relates to you and your ability to see a me. You have an ego, and I have an ego. And because you have an ego, you can see me as separate, and you can form opinions about who it is or what it is I am. However, as you do that, you might do so with language, possibly would do so with language, right? You form an idea, a concept in your head, you label me in a certain way, guy with hair, hippie, man that dresses colorful, right? You can write a little list of who you think I am. And if I had to give that exercise to every single one of the people that know me or that don't in my life, the list of things that those people will write might have some synchronicity. There might be some similarity, some overlap in the Vesica Pisces of what people think I am. But ultimately, there will be differences in the I am that people think I am, right? Depending on the relationship me and you have with each other as well. If you're my best friend, you're going to think I'm someone else as to if you're my enemy. You'll be you'll be thinking I'm someone else depending on if you're my mother or if you're my father. You'll be thinking I'm someone else depending on if you're my brother or my sister. Right? Who I am is relative to who you are. And as a result, who I am doesn't exist in that perspective. Right? Maybe the I am who I think I am could exist if we could collectively hold all of the perspective of me at the same time. If every single person's perspective, and my own included, was held collectively in the same space, right? Maybe there will be some sort of superposition of who it is Melt is. However, in my own head, who Melt is versus who Melt is in your head, who Melt is in the person walking down the street's head, right? Who've never met me before, is completely different people. So different, in fact, that maybe none of them are me at all, right? And it can be a little bit confusing to consider you not existing. However, the point of today's stream in the no self consideration and exploration is to set ourselves free, to find ourselves unattached to outcome, find ourselves unattached to expectation, unattached to communication, unattached to anything at all. To let go and to let yourself be as the self actually is, complete already. And I don't think it's easy to get there. But this environment has definitely been teaching me how to let go. It's been teaching me good. I have many teachers. Many teachers that's teaching me. All right. What is your definition of free will? Free will for me is like one of those almost like zany kind of concepts, right? The fact that I can just start screaming at the top of my lungs if I wanted to, rip my clothing off, go upside down, start using my hands as legs, right? Eat food while I'm hanging upside down still, right? I can do that. I could, right? The fact that I have like this option tree of potentialities open in front of me, for me, feels like a kind of free will. However, there is social norms and personality expectations and conditioning and right that would stop me from ripping my clothes off because I might get banned on YouTube, or walking upside down because my arms are not strong enough, or eating upside down because technically, yes, I can swallow, but I'll be eating uncomfortably. I don't think I'll be enjoying my meal quite as much. Other people will probably not want to eat with me if I try to eat upside down, right? And in that way, yes, there's this free will, but also no, there's not, because the society we live in kind of limits our option tree to a certain set of acceptable behaviors. And then again, if you have been delegated, limited to only that single set, that certain set of acceptable behaviors your entire existence, are you who you are? Are you who you were supposed to be? I don't know. I've been trying my entire life to fight, in so many words, against the status quo, against the expectations that were had of me, against the concept of what right is. Not necessarily trying to be wrong, but just trying to challenge what we consider right, in my own way. What is right for my life, right? And I feel like when you lean into this concept of no self, it adds a lot of nuance, because, and we have some examples. There's a bunch of examples on the internet of people that have embraced the concept of no self with such intensity that they find themselves unattached to anything, even the outcomes of their own lives, right? And that's something that I still find myself a little bit attached to. I am not so much attached to who I am as much as I'm attached to where I am, right? And the where I am can be an emotional state. More often than not, it is. But it can also be a physical place, right? And certain physical places can bring with it a certain emotional state. And I have been feeling rushed, you know? Because there's some things that I want to get done. And in that process, we get stuck. We get stuck in not being present. We get stuck in the future, right? Literally. You start considering a version of you that doesn't even exist yet. But then you stop existing right now in hopes that existing in that way in the future is going to be more existence than what existence is right now, right? That you'll somehow give the self what it wants with enough accuracy, enough efficiency, that suddenly yourself will suddenly be okay. It will be vergenoegd is the word in Afrikaans, like filled up, full, vergenoegd. Genoeg is enough. To feel enough. Do you feel enough? You ask yourself that question. If you do feel enough or if you don't feel enough, what does that mean to you? Right? And if you consider the topic of no self, does that make it easier or harder for you to feel like you've already been enough? Right? You are actively being created, right? You are an infinitely sprawling fractal. A person looks at you from afar on the internet and can see more than you might be, less than you might be too, but still something that you weren't just a second ago, right? No self and everything at the same time, experiencing. Can you not? This dog and his need to encroach on my personal space. Oh my god, little 9-year-old touching me! It's touching me! Bro! Thank you. He made space again. I am very autistic. That light is well blasting my eyeballs. You stop that. Oh! Oh my god. I just looked into the sun. Fine. I'll come back to chat. I was just trying to live into the no self experience. What do you think, Sam? You relate? I'm sure you'll let us know. When you make a choice, is there somebody holding a bit in your mouth leading you the other way? No. That's free will. You chose to get up, to make coffee or to not, to honk at bottles in traffic. We choose how we behave day to day. That's free will. Well, again, I kind of agree. Kind of agree with you, Sam. A little bit. A little bit of agreement. But again, if the person, if you like know the cars your best friend drives, right? And it depends again on the kind of relationship you have with your best friend. And it also depends on how you're gonna honk your horn. But if you're behind your best friend, right, and you notice the stickers on their car or whatever, and then you just like start honking your horn at them. Right? Technically that is you practicing your free will. But technically, double technically, you probably won't do that because it's your best friend. And there are social norms in place, right? And we don't do that to our best friends kind of thing, right? So yes, you have the free will to act in that way, but you don't. at the same time, right? There are like limited amounts of things that you can do. And I think that's where people that are anti-free will, right, as a concept, kind of like gets a little bit sticklered. And I get what they're saying. There is only so much that I can do as a person on planet Earth, right? I don't have the free will to turn myself into an eagle and go flying, soaring above in the sky. I don't have the free will to turn myself into a little fish and go and explore the bottoms of the oceans, or at the very least, swim with the reefs, right? And again, Melt, you're talking about something else now. Maybe, maybe. But if I wanted to will myself into being something else, maybe we'll get there eventually. Maybe if we turn ourselves into nanomachines, controllable, programmable nanomachines, I can turn myself into big ego. I'll have to friggin' be a 200-pound eagle. Wonder how big my wingspan would be. I have 10 feet wingspan. More. 15 feet wingspan. I could be Big Bird. I could be a big bird. But I don't have that, right? It's not in my control. Right? So my will is still limited to the facts, the substance that there is in our reality, right? And in that way, do I have any at all? Do you have free will? Use your free will to subscribe and like this video. Please. Please, I'll be happy about it. You see yourself being like, no, I'm not gonna subscribe actually. I'm gonna do something else with my free will. I'm gonna go somewhere else. We have Habitual 3 saying, keep your face always towards the sunshine and shadows will fall behind you. That is a nice one. Stay positive. The only difference between a good day and a bad day is your attitude. I do agree in large part with that, you know? But there is also like,
It's me.
hello?
I left my badge here.
Oh, you know where it is? You got your coffee flask as well. Should I put some coffee in this for you?
I don't have a lid to it. That's under mine.
Oh, all right. Stay positive. It's true. What's up, homie? Hey, Vital Russia. I'm doing well. Snow? Burf McGorpin Sticks? Hey, Dan. Hey, Lumberlegs. How are you? You're getting called Lumberlegs. Yeah. Legs like logs. My legs are not that big, actually. TBH. I have good legs, but I ain't got no logs for legs. Something, no self. Me? I don't exist. This thing is but flesh. There is but flesh here in front of you, and there is brain. And inside my brain, there is thoughts. And if I keep stringing these thoughts together, eventually there is self. At least the way that I think myself to be. But ultimately, all there is experience.
The resort's network set down. No credit card payments, no internet for anybody, no checking in or checking out, no internet, no
Wow.
network.
That is a little bit catastrophic, isn't it? Like, are they trying to fix it?
I don't know. Nobody knows.
Yeah. Suddenly the IT team is not having a good time. Yeah, I was about to say, it's like, it's nice working in IT when everything is working. And then when things are not working.
It's unqualified. It's catastrophic, and nobody is qualified to fix it because they don't pay people enough. And so I'm like,
Love that. Can you get my jacket? Okay, now I'll do. Yeah, Noodle is parking himself on my jackets. No spot is safe. If your clothing is accessible to Noodle, he will go and lay on it. Thank you, Xiao. Okay. And yet the choice is all just a cascading loop of cause and effects. You are just another cog in the wheel, but you choose no more to honk at buttholes than a tornado chooses to spin. Pretty deep, Jake. Pretty deep. And I cannot just blatantly disagree. I don't just disagree. You know? I do and would, of course, like to believe that I have some control. Maybe the ability to have some control is free will, right? I can choose to ruin my own life. And I can also choose to build my life up to something that I could appreciate, right? And even though it might be a little bit of cause and effect in that way, right? The things I do, the things I say, the way I treat people will have the effect, will cause a certain kind of experience at the other side of it. However, there is a matter of almost like responsibility in that whole thing for me, right? There is a little bit of responsibility I'm still trying to encourage all of us to take in the consideration of no self. Like it's your responsibility to let yourself off the hook, right? To let yourself be a little bit less serious about who it is you think you are and let yourself instead be what you are, right? And that can be something as simple as a human having a human experience on Earth. Or if you want to get super hippie about it, a soul. A soul having a hippie experience in a human or something like that, right? However you choose to identify what it is you're having right now when it comes to life, I would like to believe that there is a choice being made, right? And I think the choice is easier to make, to continue to be, if you manage your attachments. Do you manage your attachments? It's hard, I think, right? How can I not be attached? Maybe you have a nice thing. Maybe you have a gold chain necklace, right? Thick ass gold chain, just like strapped around your neck. And you really like it, right? It's so nice. Weighs 2 pounds or whatever, right? Just walking around, strutting with hundreds of thousands of dollars of gold around your neck, and you're so attached. You don't want someone to take that from you, right? The no self perspective in that is that whether you live or die, that gold continues to be, all right? And there will be another self that will covet that gold necklace after you cease. All right, and in that way, the attachment kind of arises in the self because of a societal expectation or a societal understanding about what these things mean, right? Gold is a precious metal, so we can see it as money, we can see it as status, we can see it as bragging rights, and again, all of that, the want for money, the want for status, the want for bragging rights, is again an attachment that you have made in the self and with your ego. How you were perceived as this ego. You want people to maybe think that you have money, that you are worthy of accolades, that you should be higher status. You know? And again, I like to believe that the best way to find peace is to not do that. Right? Not the attachment part, the attaching to your attachment parts. Right? Because again, I'm kind of attached to this little instrument. I am. But I've had one before, and it was stolen. And I was sad. But at the same time, during that time of my life, because they stole some of my things and they left some of my other things, right? So I believe they looked and they saw this instrument of mine and they stole it knowing that they wanted it. And then instead of going through the attachment of like, oh, I lost my thing, I'm so sad, I went, I hope they play it. I hope they play it, right? I hope they, as a self as well, find the same joy and attachment that I found in this little instrument. And when it goes away, it's gone. but the joy that was extracted in the moment is what we get to keep, right? Again, I do kind of consider the self, the ultimate self, as something that never ceases to be, right? The self that you think you are will literally cease to be by the end of the day. You won't die, don't worry, I hope at the very least, fingers crossed, but who you think you are will have changed. Who you thought you were when you woke up this morning will be different to who you think you are when you go to sleep, right? But there is something that remains unchanged underneath, right? And how can we be more of that instead of the self that we attach to, right? The self that has opinions, the self that cries about not getting what they want, the self that wants things to be a certain way, the self that suffers. I guess that's true too, Sam says. When you spin it in a certain way, and that's the whole point of this, if it were a concrete one way or the other, there wouldn't be room to question it or for introspection. There can't be definitive answers for some questions we have because it cuts us off from the possibility of growth. I don't like that. Do not objectify the host. Yes, thank you. I know, I'm so hot. Stop telling me, please. I'm insecure about it. You're insecure about? Yes. Yes. How about you listen to my words instead? How about I throw hot oil in my face? Who was it who did that? Some lady in the 1600s or something was like, they're trying to get with me because I'm hot. I'm gonna throw oil in my face and then let's see if they want to get with me. Attachment, right? That's like, I think that's too much self. Maybe it is no self. Maybe there's some no, maybe she went so no self that she went back to some. Dan is here saying, isn't that the result of the double slit experiment, Mel? Oh yeah. A body in space does not exist unless it is perceived, and our psyche being perceived by others is what defines it. There's also a perception of self as well, right? The fact that there is a conscious observer stuck, encapsulated, entrapped in this flesh, right? My flesh prison, this thing that I exist within. All I can do with my attachments to this thing is try and like maintain it, try and like feed it good food, try and sleep enough so it has a fighting chance in repairing the damage that I do to myself existing as a self in this world. And in that way, are we almost like existing ourselves by being aware of our own experience right now? Could we cease to be by withdrawing our attention? I have gotten into meditative states where I don't know if I cease to be, but every problem I think I have does, right? I've been in meditative spaces where I find myself in complete darkness as consciousness. There's nothing. There's no sound, there's no smell, there's no taste, there's no sight, right? I've done like float tank stuff as well. And existing in that non-existence, in that state of oblivion, that's fine. It's okay. Not scary, peaceful, in fact, right? And not only peaceful, but there's a certain disillusion of the self. You forget about it, yourself included. And there's a certain peace that arises from that. On this fractal of language, when I see you melt, I am only communicating with you using language Zoe Bird understands. The us. Ah, yeah. You know me. Infinity patience. Sobo patience infinitum. But without ego, we are all one. A solipsistic nightmare. Tell me about it, Jake. Yeah, the all as one perspective can be a little bit discombobulating, right? Some people find it a little bit more intimidating to consider than others, but I do believe that we're heading there, right? And again, I think one of the things that scares people the most in the consideration of the all as one is the fact that they They don't want to cease to be. I want to still be me, we say, in the understanding of our oneness. And I would like to argue, if you will, that you, as the me you think you are, doesn't cease to be if we integrate it into our understanding of oneness. Right? In fact, I see oneness as a collective, right? That we have one earth that we live on. And this one earth has billions of humans and trillions of creatures, insects and birds and little critters and fish and microorganisms that live on the layer below our conscious perception. And then there is more. There is air currents and there is trees putting moisture in the air and capturing carbon and turning it into infrastructure, right? Like oneness doesn't necessarily have to mean that you have to cease to be. Oneness just means that you understand you are not separate and that you maybe lean into the understanding of no self, right? Not because you don't exist, but because you can allow yourself not to, for a moment, for the peace of a space, right? Sometimes I have to let the parts of me that wants peace cease to be because the bird is screaming, kind of thing, right? It doesn't mean that I stop liking peace. It just means that in that moment, in this instance of reality that we are experiencing, I can lean into the no self that does release. The no self that doesn't have the attachment of wanting peace necessarily. Now you're getting it. We're a delicious dichotomy of knowns and unknowns, and the point of us existing is that there is a way, and existing in that way is to provoke the asking of questions. We're supposed to search, debate, to wonder. I do like that. Yep, it is true. I'll eat with you upside down, bro. I got you. Thanks. Yeah, Dan loves me. Dan would eat upside down with me. All of you other people are just posers. Me and Dan are upside down eating together types. We're not the same. Okay, cool, okay, you sent there. Is tater tots and cheese tortilla an acceptable breakfast? It's a little bit carb heavy, don't you think? Hey, can I be a mod now? Pop Daddy. That's you're gonna have to like spend some time, bro. I think I might have like over modded my channel already. Reason is the slave of emotion. That is pretty deep. One more goes to count, and you will get a day ban. Do not fuck with me. You'll get on the list. Hey, Ninja Nana is here. Hey, Ninja Nanas. How you doing, Corey? Listen, Pop. Sam's been trained to use the dark side. I know. You wouldn't do that to your friend. Sir, I laughed at my friend. He told me one of his stories of trauma. It was a funny story, though. Again, Ninja Nanner. The reason you could laugh in that moment isn't because of free will. It's because of conditions, right? You even said, my friend, right? He's your friend. And you know that he'll probably still be your friend, even if you laugh at his traumas. However, maybe you go to some sort of freaking AA meeting or, like Trauma Anonymous. And then people share their traumas, right? Laughing out loud as everybody shares their trauma. You'll probably be asked to leave. You'll probably be asked to Like, thank you, Puff Daddy. We got Nancy saying, hey peeps, hey Nancy, it's nice having you. We are but meat sacks filled with squishy bits and electricity that has the ability to think. That moment when you meat sack and squishy ability to think, love it. And yet we are so much more. Exactly. Darren is here with us too. Hey Darren. I like Hispanic women. You are not Hispanic nor a woman. I'm sorry to disappoint, homie. Maybe next time. Right? Maybe next life I'll come back as a Hispanic woman. You know, do my whole streams. Maybe I'll keep doing that. Every time I reincarnate, I'll start streaming every day forever. And this is my trial run. I get to be myself this time. Next time I'll be yourself, maybe. You just you're waiting for the systems to come back online, kind of
Can't
thing.
do anything.
Literally, yeah. You can't log on. Oh, IT nightmare. Thank you, interwebs, for working on this side at least. I'm happy that it wasn't like a fiber cut or something with like the water sloshing or something. Think it might be water? Ooh. Oh no. That's a way bigger problem.
I hope it is.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Joe works for a big resort, and they have many systems and payment fractals, and none of it is working. It's all down right now, and it's been raining. It's been coming down like cats and dogs. I've never seen so much standing water in a residential area. I wish I had photos on my tablet. Like we last night as we came back home could see the trees standing in the water, but then the tree would go right, and then there would be a reflection of the tree going, and it would just be these entities. And I was like, oh my, I've never seen something like that.
It really was cool.
Did you just send me oh, you sent the photos.
I sent other photos. Those aren't those photos. I was looking to see if I had any, but I think you took them last time.
I did take the photos. I could technically do it quickly.
Just share them on the Discord. You can post them in the what is the name of the channel? Lost in the Weeds, which is sometimes like plant weeds, like outside in the nature.
True.
Lost in the nature weeds.
Lost in the nature weeds. I could do that one. That could be fun. Yeah, but it was beautiful. We got Kira Burb here.
Kira Burb.
Hey, Kira. It's nice having you here. But, Jon Snow. You can tell this guy likes art and good tea. What's the dialogue today? You can tell that I like art and good tea. Kind of take that as a compliment. I don't know if that was meant as an insult, but I do, in fact, like good tea. Yesterday, I had cinnamon. Do you remember what was in that tea show? It was called
Echinacea, cinnamon.
Echinacea, cinnamon.
It was called Nature's Goodness.
It was good.
I mean, that was the name of it.
It was like an unsweetened tea, but you would drink it and it would taste like tea, right? Like cinnamony tea, like almost like a chai tea kind of experience. And then you would swallow, and then your mouth would water. And I think because of the balance,
Spearmint? Was it
it
spearmint?
might be the spearmint, it would taste sweet. Like your mouth watering after you take a sip would taste sweet to me. And I was like, what is happening?
Echinacea is a old herbal medicine. There's all kinds of herbal benefits to echinacea.
It could have been that.
And it's a flower, so maybe that's like purple cone flower is echinacea. Blue cone flowers.
The lady that was serving us was like, this is my favorite. I've been drinking this. And I was like, nice. I'm usually not, I drank 3 cups of tea last night.
Yeah, you drink a whole pot of tea.
I drank a whole pot of that stuff, yeah. Thanks. And I do make art even. Let me show you my box. I made the box, not the physical construction of it, but the decoration of it. And then I make the art as well that it's decorated with. And so I do like art. Art makes me happy. Yes. Yes. Fractal geometries. Yeah. Thanks. We're not supposed to talk about me though. Gem Manuel. Today was about no self. He's also super awesome and a great friend to have. Jeez. Kira Burr. It'll make me blush. What's the dialogue today? We're talking about no self. That was the core theme, right? I've been talking about myself a lot in these streams, and I feel like it's been obnoxious. I will literally like I spend a lot of time. I spend this time sharing with you friends, and then I spend the rest of the time analyzing myself and my behaviors. And I'll spend excessive amounts of time just like beating myself's ass, all right, about things. And yeah, I've been hoping to be better. Corey, how's stuff? Do let us know. Melt will be watching in our future reincarnations. Thank you. Thank you, Nancy. Maybe you'll be me, and I'll be the most bombshell of Latina ladies. Damn, I could see myself having you know doing all those squats to get squat booty. I need to stop, please, please, myself, please. Have mercy upon my poor third eye. All right, Melt in at 500 meters deep in the Subnautica, and I'm scared. I'm so scared. Are you still riding Swaggered? That should be the thing. I don't think you can go 500 meters deep with the Swaggered vehicle that you got. Maybe you get a new one. Stuff's good. Life's been lifing. Fruit Cup is so smart and wild and sweet. And I'm working on dealing with emotions, both her and ours. It sounds like a whole wholesome and healthy family unit you got going on there, Ninja Nanner. Yeah, emotions. Have you considered? Have you considered telling her that she doesn't exist? That is what today's stream topic is kind of like getting at. But it just kind of cracks me up. I'm laying it on thick, of course. Don't let your, what is it, 6-year-old? No, 4-year-old. Don't tell your 4-year-old she doesn't exist. Hey, little 4-year-old, have you considered that you don't exist? Have you considered? And that because you don't exist, actually, you don't have to cry about not getting what you want. Because what you want is with everything as you are. And it might as well be here right now. Yes, you could cry about wanting candy, but have you considered that the candy is being eaten by reality right now? That little candy is in the mouth of reality instead of yours. Oh man, when I have kids one day, what will they think? How will I be? I hope I'll be a good dad. I am going to challenge them. That's nice. Joe thinks I'll be a great dad. I'd hope so. I don't think I'd have kids if I believed that was going to be a bad one.
I think you make mistakes.
Oh yeah.
I don't think that makes a dad a bad dad.
It's wholesome. I don't know if you can hear Joe. She said she thinks I'll make mistakes, but she doesn't think that makes you a bad dad. I think I agree. My dad made mistakes too, but he was a good dad for the most part. Sweet Fruit Cup. It was a compliment, bro. I'm having some chai now. Nice, Jemamuel. What kind of chai? Like caffeinated or caffeine free? I haven't had many chai teas in my life actually.
Really?
Maybe at most 4.
6 of them in the cabinet.
I've had most of my chai teas with you actually.
Chai is my favorite.
Joe does like chai tea. Sometimes a dirty chai too. Love me a good Earl Grey. I don't think I like Earl Grey.
Really?
Tastes too astringent to me.
Oh,
Yeah.
Earl Grey is
My
so...
my grandma likes Earl Grey.
Earl Grey's a really good one to have with cream, I think. That's one of the better ones with cream.
I think that's why I used to just drink it with milk and like keep adding sugar. It's just it has that the way I would say it in Afrikaans is drainwater type reuk, which is like offensive. If you like that tea, I shouldn't say it out loud. I'm gonna keep it locked in Afrikaans. doesn't serve me. Maybe I'll like it now. The last time that I decided that this is not good for me or I don't like it was like when I was 9 years old. So
Earl Grey to me tastes like what tea is supposed to taste like.
it's very tea. Agreed. But rooibos tea is like so floral and soft and
Earthy.
a little bit earthy, yeah. where I feel like Earl Grey is very leafy. You get that leaf, you get blasted by leaf flavors, and I'm like, not about that, I think. Does have high caffeine content, I believe. I knew it. That shirt gave it away. Yeah, I don't like art. I even make my art wearing these shirts. Yeah, all of these that I've made is actually me. Me transformed into pixels, and then those pixels melted into each other. So today's flower will be blues, whites. That looks like a kind of brown, but I'll probably amp it up until it looks like an orange, and then got some yellows and purples as well. Should be a nice flower. I do like the flowers that come out of this scarf. I wanted to show you, but I'll do it later. Ah, cheers to transpersonal. Cheers to the transpersonal. She's 4. Did you hear my joke with Corey?
Hi, Corey.
Like, he's like, me, we've been dealing with emotions, both us and her. And then I'm like, have you considered telling her that she doesn't exist?
You're talking about Peach or?
About little Peach, a fruit cup actually.
Oh.
And then he goes, she's 4. Yeah, start them early, bro. Start them with the with the mindfulness.
That's how you be a bad dad.
That is probably how you be a bad dad. Sits with a 4-year-old.
That's what I said earlier.
That's how I might make mistakes.
Yeah, I think that would be a mistake.
One of the mistakes that I make, sitting with my 4-year-old, staring out into a distance, being like, have you considered you don't exist? What? What was that, Dad? Have you considered for a moment that you don't actually exist? What do you mean, Dad? It's like, you think you're someone, right? Yeah. And I think you're someone. Like, yeah. Do you think that someone is the same someone? Do you think, asks a 4-year-old, that who I think you are is who you are? Starts existential dreading. I probably would have loved conversations like that as a young kid. Because I was like asking people stuff like that. I was very enamored with death, even as a child as well. And then the concept of Christianity kind of like threw me, because I was fascinated by death. But death had to come with heaven, where I was like, oh, that's neat. And all I have to do is follow rules, and then I get heaven. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Slowly but surely. I did pray about it a lot. I prayed. I prayed to be taken to heaven already, because apparently you can get so Zen mode 5000 that God just comes and gets you. He's like, this guy was great enough. He doesn't have to die eventually. I'll just come and fetch him.
Oh man.
I'll fetch him early. You ever thought about that?
I've never. I mean, I had a single person come to mind when you said that.
Yeah. Oh.
I never considered that.
Thinking about Hendrik? Yeah, we had a friend that was joining us in this community who he joined us at the start of the month. Healthy, happy, completely okay. During the month, had an aneurysm. End of the month, had passed away.
Was it really only a month?
It was a month. Like maybe 40 days. But it was like, we fell in love with a person and then life took them away.
And he was Zen mode 5000.
It was pretty Zen mode 5000.
He was a genius.
Yeah. His friends as well loved him. Lutz, yeah. And, you know, it was one of those things. Like, he had peace. He had peace in his life as well.
Even after he had his
stroke, yeah.
Like, he couldn't really
Yeah, half of his body, half of his body was gone, still smiling. Like, just at peace with what is. And like, again, I would like to believe that I was there at one point in my life as a kid. Right? I remember telling you about as soon as my consciousness switched on, the idea of like jumping off of my treehouse onto knives. Right? Like, that was a thought that I would entertain. Like, my mom, I was very outgoing, to say it in so many words, right? So I would want to go out, and my mom would not let me. She'd be like, no, you can't go and run in the streets, you crazy person. And then I would get really angry about that. And I would think about dying. I was like, if I can't live, then I'd rather die.
How old were you?
6. This is still in Rustenburg. Before we moved to Groblersdal. And we moved there when I was a 7-year-old.
So young.
So young.
I remember being young and like, there's a lot of young kids that I've
You want a microphone? I don't think people can hear you properly.
I don't know. I mean, maybe. Death is just such an interesting concept, especially to children as they're forming their opinions on what this world is around them. Like, the brain isn't even fully developed until 20s. It took me mid-20s to kind of really develop a solid viewpoint on certain things, and I'm still developing a solid viewpoint. So like a kid and their concept of death, like I remember being really little as well and wishing for death. That sounds awful, and like that's something that's taboo, we don't want to talk about. But the ways that we have, at least the ways that I have viewed death at each different point in my life has drastically changed. So one of those things that you said, when I was a kid, I would have loved that concept. Like, you as an adult looking back as you as a kid, you as a kid would assume that you as a kid would have loved that concept. But you as a kid receiving that concept without all of the experience between that kid and your adulthood now, like, you're looking through it through the lens of having all of that experience, and that kid didn't have all of that. So that concept would have completely changed the trajectory of where your mind would have gone.
I could imagine that.
And you could be, depending on where you would have gone, you could be like, wow, I hated the fact that my dad shared that concept with me, or like, who knows where you could be within that spectrum.
I could have leaned so hard into the understanding of no self that I ended up ruining my own life, kind of thing.
Yeah, right? I mean,
it's big stakes. I tip my hat for all of you parents out there, all right? Raising a child, I'm still not there. I need to at least turn 35, I think, before I'm going to be adult enough. Still got 7 years before I have to start worrying about it. Way too much time in the head, that's definitely winter, oh yeah. To end the war, atheism is a logical fallacy that assumes God is the religious idea of the creator, of the creation. To conclude wrongly, no creator exists because a particular idea of God doesn't exist. Sounds like you're coming here with an idea, an understanding, and I appreciate you sharing it with us. I stopped being an atheist a very long time ago, right? And it is, as you said, that was very much what it was for me. The idea that was being portrayed to me in the religion that I was raised in about what God is, I was looking around and I could see none of it. And I concluded, as you said, wrongly, that surely because there's none of this godliness that I have been hearing about, there mustn't be any. However, as I continue to grow and as I explored my own mind and my own understanding of the world, what God was became a lot more clear to me as an overarching concept. My favorite understanding of the word God is that God is to the mind what the reflection is to the person. Right? When you go up to a mirror and you look in that mirror to see yourself, you can see what you're showing yourself, right? You can show yourself the size of your face. Maybe you can check the top of your head a little bit, but you can't see behind your back. You can't see inside your brains. You can't see the food digesting down your body, right? And in that way, you can convince yourself, looking at yourself in the mirror, that's me, but it's not. It is a reflection of all that you are. Thank you, Hoopy, for the $10. That's nice.
Hey, Hoopy.
And the word God is the same thing in my mind, where it is to the mind a concept that tries to reflect something so large that we have tried to capture it with a single word, right? And as a result, it's impossible for us to try and encapsulate all that is in human concepts in a way that it can make sense, never mind in a way that we can interact with it in a way that values or improves our quality of life. And that's something that I find myself very stuck on. I saw this concept of God reduce quality of life in a lot of people, right? It would create this like a waiting nature, right? Like, I'm just gonna wait to be saved. I'm gonna wait until I die. I'm gonna, right? Just get it over with kind of thing. So, yeah, God to me now is a way more personal concept, right? It is a reflection of everything, the collective us that we are. And as a result, you, dear friend, are God to me too, right? You don't have to be God in the way that I fall down in front of you and worship your feet, but you can be God to me in the way where I can consider your feelings, right? I can consider that if this was God standing in front of me right now, how would God expect me to interact? How would God expect me to have a conversation? Would God value my kindness and my presence more than it would value my rage? Right? And probably. There are probably some aspects of God that would appreciate my rage as well. And, it's up for interpretation, but it is everything. She is totally not 4 already. She was literally just born. It happens fast, right?
That's crazy to think she's
4 years old.
using words.
Becoming a little person.
We got to get little snippets of her life, like in between, like seeing her, like remember when she was just born. We remember when she was in Peach's belly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thinking about Lewin a little bit as well. Her sister's baby, like he
is 6 months old today.
He's 6 months old today. Is today's birthday? Oh, it's half birthday today. Yeah.
6.
Yeah, I remember her having a little half birthday cap for him. But apparently, it's around this age that they start developing object permanence, right? So, mommy being there and then going to the other room can be distressing for him because where did she go? Is she gonna come back? Right? And we could see a little bit of that as well in him. And it's cool watching these little babies develop. Oh, hell yeah, with depth, upgrade, 3, you can go down to 900 meters. I went to 700 and got scared to turn around. Dan is playing Subnautica. Yeah, that game will stimulate some sort of primal little thing in the back of your brain that goes, you are lost. You are in a dark place, underwater. You must go back. You must go back home. Bruh, she asks existential questions all the time. There we go. You see? I knew it. Like, the 4-year-olds are on it, bro. Asking questions like, are we on Earth? Why are we here? Are we people? That's some cool questions. Bro, I would love having conversations like that with a kid. Smartest fruit cup ever. Tell me, Dan. I've got a terrible thalassophobia, and I really want to play Subnautica. Is that a gameplay mode to address that? You know what thalassophobia is?
Fear of open waters. I believe.
I feel like the open waters
I could be wrong.
Yeah, that's not really something you'll be worried about too much.
In
right?
Subnautica?
In Subnautica. Like, you'll be able to go above the water and you'll see the openness.
But you're in a thing. Yeah, you're in a submarine.
You're in a submarine or you're swimming.
So it's close quarters.
Yeah, you're very much in a POV kind of space, and you spend most of your time in the water, technically, gathering resources and stuff. So you should be able to play that game, but still, I don't like, you'll develop new phobias. That game will teach you what you're scared of, kind of thing.
Dead Space. Have you ever played Dead Space?
I did play Dead Space. Dead Space was just too broody to me. Like, I don't like body horror kind of stuff. That's too much for me.
No, that was one where it's like almost thalassophobia vibes, except instead of ocean, you have space.
That actually is something that terrifies me. I have dreams like that where I'll be in a spaceship and I'll be very aware of the fact that there is nothing in every single direction.
Do you have a favorite Pokemon?
Yeah. The evolved, is it Geodude? Where he becomes the rock snake.
He becomes Graveler?
No, the rock snake.
Oh, you're thinking of Onyx.
Onyx, there we go. I think that might be my favorite one.
Onyx is pretty cool.
Pretty hardcore. You have a favorite one?
Oh gosh, no. Abra, Natu, all of the
I actually
OGs.
had an Abra at one point.
Kadabra and Alakazam. Alakazam was like in my Elite Six party.
The most evolved.
Or yeah.
I remember evolving my. I think I did get him all the way to Alakazam, where he gets a spoon, right?
QWERTY's asking. That's why. I'm at the bottom of the comments. I'm reading through the comments over
Makes
here.
sense. Those kinds of questions I'm gonna have to answer on the fly. I'm boned, man. The self, says Jen, the self is a tool for individuation. That's a word that Joe
Individuation.
actually taught me.
I know. I read that comment. I was like, ooh, I can't wait till he gets to that
All
one.
right. The self is a tool of individuation. However, not every tool is made for every task.
Ding, 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 ding,
When
ding.
you have a hammer,
Ding,
kind
ding,
of
ding, ding,
thing.
ding, ding.
Yeah.
Not every tool is made for every task. Literally everything that you experience could be a tool, right? But do we need it in this moment? Does the moment call for it? What does the moment call for? That's where the discernment comes in.
I think that's good, right? And I feel because of the state I've been in, it's almost like I feel like I've been needing a little bit more of no self, right? Like the tool of self can have its benefits, as we said, for individuation, right? Knowing where your boundaries are, kind of thing, right? In that way, the self can be useful as a tool. However, the no self as a tool for me is almost like a practice of peacefulness. It is a letting go of. Instead of a clear definition or a defining of, it is a let go of. We got cardamom lattes are the bomb. Sounds amazing. It does actually sound nice. Kira Burp says sounds nice. We get Christy here too. Nancy say, yes, I discovered that when I was on a walk and some guy had a coffee stand set up. Nice. Looking at a melt on a box. Love is true. You're nobody. Kira Burr finds it funny as well. Lol, and yeah, take my wife, please. Nancy? What? Maybe you're talking about the no self joke. You can get so zen mode that God just comes to get you. Happened twice in the Bible. Yep, to Elijah and then to Enoch. The account says Elijah was taken to heaven in a whirlwind. Honestly, reading it from a modern perspective, it sounds like Elijah has an encounter with aliens. Probably. Probably. And again, right? Like if I wasn't, and like, I was a cracked kid. Like there was something wrong with me. Like legitimately, my mom took me to the doctors to make sure that I'm not completely broken. Like, please figure out what's wrong with him. And then I got diagnosed with like high functioning autism, dyslexia, and I'm pretty sure there was some OCD in there somewhere. But it might have been too young for me to be diagnosed with OCD at that point.
OCD can be kind of. I mean, there's symptoms of OCD. It's all spectrum stuff, right?
Yep. It's like where you find yourself.
And so
But
they do kind of all overlap in a way. Not all overlap, but there's overlapping that happens in the
vesical
symptoms
Pisces.
from.
There's probably some of that. And in that way, right, like during that time in my kid life, if it wasn't me praying to be taken up to heaven, it would be helicopters. Every time a helicopter would fly over me, I would be convinced that they had figured out that I'm here and that they're coming to get me. And I would be nervously excited. I'd be like, okay, they figured it out. And then they wouldn't get me. And then I would like basically start praying to the aliens as well. It was like literally, I would go outside at night and I would lay on the trampoline and I would stare into the stars and I would be like, I'm open, I'm here. I'm here to be kidnapped or abducted any second now. And they never would. They never would come in and abduct me.
There's a really good Hank Green video on why it's always aliens but never aliens.
I think I saw that one. Hank Green is one of my favorite educators.
He's so
Him and his
good.
brother. Like I like almost.
He
That's
stays
almost
here in the hotel every now and again.
Really.
Yeah,
I
apparently
would
he's a big
love to
fan.
meet him. I mean, this hotel is very popular. I don't know if you know, but the beds in the hotel are like world class.
Yeah, they
I went to, I like they had them
they have
displayed
them in
in
the
West
atrium?
Baden, and I was like, I went and laid on. I was like,
they're nice.
oh my goodness. And then I looked at the pricing, and it was $3,000 US, and then
For a mattress, isn't that crazy?
and then I forgot about it instantly. I went back into the no self. I was like, actually, I don't need $3,000 mattress. Actually,
Ninja Nanner says, time to go, wonderful friends. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Always remember, you are wanted and loved. You're with friends and family. You are where you belong. You are home.
that's nice. We love you, Corey. Sending you love to Fruit Cup and Peach. It's nice to have you here.
Love you, Fruit Fan.
Sam, I remember thinking that when I read it, it was in Genesis. Yeah, I listened to those teachings as a kid.
Toasty's
Right?
here.
Toasty.
Toasty's
We got
here.
Kate here as well. Blessings for a fine weekend. Hoopty hoops. What is in the water bottle? Wouldn't you like to know? You should have sent $100. Then I might have. I'm joking, Hoopy. I'm joking. I'm just joking. There's coffee. I put some covfefe in here, dude.
Toasty recommended a song. Toasty, I know that song. I know Lubian. Such a good band.
You'll
I
have to
found
play it to
him
me.
organically by accident, just scrolling through YouTube, and it's like a foreign artist. Mm-hmm. I've played some of the. I think I've actually played the track that he suggested for you. It's called Pale Blue Dot.
That sounds familiar to me. I think you literally even searched that song up
Maybe.
during one of. I think it might have been South Africa at that point, but
Yeah, maybe. And I
We'll
know
have to
that
listen to it
Sam
again.
has an artwork piece called Pale Blue Dot as well. She's a big fan of the.
you know the song, Sam? Kira Burf says, my youngest thinks death is a big party and wants to be with her mama again. Totally terrifying to hear her talk about it and want to die. We have lots of talks and things to keep having. I don't know if there's more. We believe on devil. I don't believe in anything. Birds, so metal. Love is true. Do you have a favorite Pokemon, or since you play Subnautica, a favorite Leviathan? I don't actively play Subnautica, but I did a while ago. I played Subnautica when I was staying with Christian. When I
Did Markiplier play it?
probably
I think I've seen Markiplier
you-
play it.
he's played a bunch of. I watched. I think was it Buse? Did I watch Buse play it?
He probably played it.
No, it was a popular game at the point. But yeah, Onyx would be my favorite Pokemon. Trees actively communicate and share resources and defend neighboring trees. It's true. They have fungal networks that connect their root systems together. They will exchange sugars for nutrients with those fungal networks as well. Thalassophobia is more about the ocean in general than just the water itself. In that case, maybe it could be like a good exposure therapy, right? The cool thing about games and TV shows and movies is that, and when they're scary, is that they give you a safe medium to interact with something that scares you, right? In the normal world, in our pre-state, before we became industrialized human beings, fear as a response was usually dangerous, right? That you're scared, actively being chased by something that wants to maul you to death. Or maybe a bunch of bad guys, right, are raiding your village and you're running for your life, right? So fear, back in the day, used to be something that literally could take your life away. And now, living in the modern world, we have access to games and movies and TV shows and books that allows us to interact with fear without it being dangerous, right? And if you can understand that about your experience, maybe you can use it to your benefit. For me, it's more about the darkness of the ocean. Yeah, and how your view is obstructed by nothing more than the absence of light. Subnautica will be an experience. It's for sure scary. I just started playing the game. Time to go, wonderful friends, hoopty hoops. We love you, bro.
Oh, I
You've
missed
probably
it.
already left. Joe was the one who read you that message.
I didn't see Hoopy leave. I missed
Oh,
that.
not Hoopy, sorry. Ninja Nanner.
Oh.
Love you, Nana. We got Toasty saying good morning, Melt. I highly recommend this track. Thank you for sharing it. It's about those alien FOMO vibes. Pale blue. I mean, it makes sense, actually. Pale blue dot is also what they titled one of Hubble telescope's photos, where it's like big space. And
Is
then
that
there's-
that's related to the Carl Sagan thing?
it can be Carl Sagan. I think it might be.
Yeah.
Might be. It's a bunch of overlap. You want to check it out?
Yeah.
Toasty toast from old days. Oh yeah, Kira Verb. Toast is here with us. Greetings, Verb, from the old days. You know the song, Pale Blue Dot Sam. No, it is named after Carl Sagan's Pale Blue Dot speech. There, Sam said it too. Yeah. Holy moly, I've been wondering about you, sweet Toasty. Toasty also has a baby at this point, right? He got super busy raising children. Toast, totally holding back from shouting about how much happy this arises every time I
Noodle,
see a
jeez.
wild Toasty appear. It's true. It's totally normal for me to be crying a few happy OG reunion tears, of course. We have found
Gotta
ourselves
get away
here.
from this dog. He's making just awful noises.
Yeah, and unfortunately those awful noises come with awful smells as well.
Well, I'm just like he's doing it right into the microphone.
I don't even know why he has to make those sounds. Like, I really do feel like he's doing it on purpose. Right?
You'll give him that much credit. Like that dog, there's nothing going on in those two brain cells.
Two brain cells rubbing together.
It creates static electricity, and those are the jolts that you have that come from his body.
What a creature.
It's just really efficient somehow. He's able to move around.
I need to give him a bath again, I think.
He does need a bath.
Yeah, give him a bath the last time that he escaped. He tried to escape today. I did take Zoe out this morning.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I took him outside even. Put him on a stick outside. He did not like it for long, and then he wanted to get back in. I'm changing the poopy crouton right now.
Dog.
Little baby. It's totally normal. I know, a little crouton for toast. It's true. That was still something that we were all aware of as a community. And then there was trying to remember the other homie who also had a kid. Grant? Was it Grant?
Hand shoes?
Hand shoes?
That's Grant.
Is that Grant? Yeah. He also had a kid. And Sam also had a kid.
Yeah.
And Zano also had a kid.
I know, I was thinking about Zano yesterday.
Right. Is there anyone else?
All these little beings of light being light.
Yeah.
beings.
Cool people bringing more cool people onto planet Earth. All right. I get to say that I finished my coffee at 10:30. Aw, that's beautiful. No, you. I had kids by proxy. Hoopty. Hoopy, when you say stuff
does
like
that
had. Yeah. Had is the concerning word. Like, I get the kids by proxy, right? It's like your friends have kids, and then you, like, soft help to raise them kind of thing.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That checks out. I think me
And
too.
maybe they, like, left eventually. But, like, the past tense is just, like, it gets me. I think I'm going to pull us 2 cards. Oops. You're a bird laughing. Yeah, I don't think I've had kids by proxy yet.
No, I don't think you've really spent a lot of time around growing children.
I was English teacher for a little bit, but those kids were mostly grown already.
Yeah, but I mean like growing as in like watching the developmental stages
And being
between
there.
like as they
think
go throughout
The
stages.
first time might actually be Lewin, really, for me.
Really?
Of like a baby that I'll watch, progress.
Yeah, that's gonna really.
Like I had my cousin, Isak.
Yeah,
but I
that's
didn't
like
see
family
him.
reunions.
Yeah, exactly. Once every year.
Every time you see him, he's a different person completely.
Literally. He does like me at least.
Yeah.
Like at first he was like a little bit hesitant. But now he has this like energy of he wants to engage more with me, but he doesn't know how to make himself interesting enough.
That awkward stage. There's an awkward stage that kids go through around like 9 and 10 where they're starting to realize that like, oh, there is a difference between the way big kids talk and little kids talk. And
I think
I'm somewhere in this.
he's like 5 or 6 right now, so he's not there I think just yet, but
Oh.
I feel like maybe it's just an awareness thing.
It gets deeper.
Yeah,
It's really
it grows
interesting.
more and more. Oh my goodness, people are aware of me.
Yeah.
Here, Melt, have my 4. 4 of them. It's like, yes, have all of the job. Did your brother? I'm not going to read that sentence. I'm sorry, Sam. We're going to New York City this weekend to meet up with Dan. Super excited. That sounds so
cool.
fun, Christy. I don't know if Dan will have the time I did send a message in the Discord. I don't know if anybody else replied. Did you see that message?
No, I didn't.
I basically said, if you want to be at the wedding,
Oh, I did see that.
let me know.
Quite a few people replied. Well,
I saw Corey's message, and I think I saw Edmund.
Edmund?
Edmund was like so happy for you too. Yeah, he did send a message
Oh
in there
my
as well.
goodness.
So, if you want to do wedding stuff with us, send a message. I think me and Joe did have a conversation yesterday. You know, even with Grace as well. We met Grace, one of Joe's friends. Edmund! Kira Burr remembers Edmund. He's still doing well. I'm not reading that sentence out loud. Sorry, Sam. I'm sorry. Does the word impregnate offend? Doesn't offend me. It just is like one of those words
It
where...
comes with a lot of...
yeah, it's like a little bit... You know, like made a baby. Made a baby is softer than impregnate.
It's so... Like that one's so...
It feels very mechanical.
Mechanical is a word, yeah.
Right? It's like you're... Yeah. I did dorm dad for teenagers. Then a 12-year and a 15-year-old moved in for a time. Cohabitating fractals. I can't make it, unfortunately. We have a family trip planned. It's okay, Christy. I think you said that last time.
We might try to plan a thing that gives
At
people...
another point. Yeah, like we realized, was it yesterday?
Meltfest 2026.
Could be fun, actually, to do it that way. We realized yesterday that it's going to be Easter weekend.
Literally the day before Easter.
The weekend we picked, which means that all of the flight tickets are like double the price. So that's a little bit of a bummer.
It's double the price. My mom and sister can't make it, and like there's all kinds of things going on for that day.
They're busy the Saturday too?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, so we might have to do it another day, but that is a discussion to be had. Who? Edmund? Yeah. Edmund, I think, might have been before you, Sam. Edmund was still during the Arpan days.
Yeah.
Long-haired dude as well. Friendly.
Does he come in every... Like, I've seen him come in a couple times since the YouTube days, because his name is like Feb something.
Maybe he did. Maybe I didn't notice his username or something. But yeah, I'm holding these cards. I think I put my tablet on charge. No, it's on the little dinner table. Okay, I'm gonna flare these cards, and then I would like for one of you friends tell me to stop. Dang, I miss Edmund. Never more than a thought away, Kira Burb. I'll send pics on Discord. We're gonna walk on the Brooklyn Bridge and get some food. That sounds fun, Christy. Please do send selfies.
Stop! Oh.
Tell Joe to say stop. That works. Toasty send stop too. You know? I feel like this card resonates with what I talked about today. Are you ready to hear what it says? Maybe you'll be ready to see it first. Deep replenishment. Deep replenishment. Retreat. Why can't I read? Retreat. Rest and be held. Retreat. Rest and be held. I would love for you to. Just like locking into this card for a second. Got desert, got water, got planets, got lady holding flower. Her dress made of psychedelic cactuses growing all around. Thank you, Jean. Deep replenishment.
Oh, here's my phone.
There it is. The most selfless thing you can do is to fill up your own inner well. When we're running around half-filled, we subconsciously look to things and people around us to give us the nourishment and nurturing that we so deeply crave. Nothing can grow in barren lands. You are no good to anyone if you're running on empty. The feminine is bountiful, fertile, and rich. Tend to your own inner well and watch as the amount you give multiplies. If your inner well isn't full, you will find yourself craving things from the outside world to fill you in. This is our body's instinctive way of searching for the grounding and nurturing that we are not allowing ourselves. What nourishes you? What refuels your body? What is nectar for your soul? What brings you back to life? What is your secret medicine? What makes you feel abundant and fertile, overspilling with life? It may be gardening, arranging flowers, getting a massage, using luxurious essential oils, or snuggling up on the couch, hiking, sipping a good coffee at your favorite cafe, attending a community circle, reading about sacred sites, spontaneous bike rides, walking along the beach, or yoga.
Or every one of those.
Or all of them at the same time.
At the same time.
What nourishes you is your medicine. When you give yourself the medicine that you need to be nourished, you nourish all those around you, for there is more than enough to go around. Love this one. Isn't it good, Kira Burb?
Great one, actually.
Hardcore, nothing can grow in barren lands, and you are no good to anyone if you're running on empty.
Kind of the same
Damn.
thing that we were talking about Grace doing diving yesterday, right?
All right.
And Shadow Kato talked about as a diver to rescue another, you have to make sure that you have adequate air first. And that card reminds me of that. I don't know. That's inspiration that I have for art in the future as well. But the whole, you need to be sure the self is capable of doing the things first before going out and trying to take on a lot of other things.
Exactly. It's true. Much love, Toasty. Self-Care Friday. Much love, homies. Do take care of yourself. I'm going to pull a card from this deck as well. This feels like my power deck. All right. Suddenly I'm going down a whole Yu-Gi-Oh! Fractal. Yeah, like... I'm going to pull my White Dragon, Blue Eyes.
Blue Eyes White Dragon.
I said it wrong on purpose because I knew I was going to get corrected by someone, and Joe is the one that's like...
Hey.
White Eyes, Blue Dragon, right? That's...
Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. If you have all three, and
ultimate
then
Blue Eyes Dragon. All right, tell me to stop again. Any single one of you has the power to make me stop. All right, use your power. See your influence on the world. Push yourself so that this self may be pushed.
Says Kira Burbs.
Kira Burp, stop the card.
Yeah, stopped it.
This is upside down. I'm hiding it from the show. Compassionate Pele. That's a good one. I feel like we did talk a little bit about the kids fractal as well. You see the baby in her arms? Do you see the baby in her arms, Joe?
Yeah, I'm trying to see it in the thing.
Pay attention. See closer.
No, I don't. Oh, I do it now.
There we go. Yeah. We did talk about babies. That's some synchronicity, Kira Burb. There's a little baby. Little baby in her arms. Heart of fire. Compassionate face on the... Pele. Pele is another one of the words we use for Mama Gaia. Compassionate Pele. Compassion and emotional maturity. Pele is the passionate volcano goddess of Hawaii. Traditionally, she is depicted as powerful, yet selfish, contrary, even vengeful. This card's alternative depiction comes from a shared vision relating to her passionate and compassionate side. She is, as we all are, maturing and becoming more loving and compassionate. Compassion is not passive. It is actively opening the heart through the awareness of the interdependence of all things, including other creatures, nature, and the inanimate world. Man, this card feels synchronous with the topic for today as well. At our core essence, we exist as pure, unconditional love, realizing empathy and concern for others. We sometimes forget this essence or, in our emotional immaturity, act as if we have. Compassion is the embodiment of emotional maturity and a clue to better understanding our humanness. Compassionate Pele now becomes an example and guide for those who are intentionally remembering their soul's essence. Hearts created from sacred geometry's golden spirals inform your movement towards emotional maturity. As we mature together, we will realize hope for the human race. Let this card be a reminder to walk the path of peace and compassion in every way, every day. Know that your every thought, word, and action has an effect on the whole and touches the spirit of every other being. Walk in the awareness with compassion for all of creation. And it was pulled upside down. The reversed meaning goes, indifference numbs. Wake up to the compassion of your heart. Indifference numbs. Wake up to the compassion of your own heart. Thank you, Joe, for holding us the card. What a trip. What a good card to finish the stream on, huh? Nice. And also my favorite Tori Alamos album, Boys for Pele. I've been listening to it nonstop all week. This card is synchronous as heck. Nice. You actually got the Pele fractal before you even heard this card. Kilaya was going off recently. I totally...
The volcano.
Oh, wow. Wow, double, triple, quadruple synchronicities. Oh my one. Oh my goodness.
I wish I could turn that around and show them.
No, nobody gets to see anything. I've been sitting with my legs crossed this whole time and my calves are still exploding. I'm fine. This is fine. I'm not in pain. I am compassionate Pele. Compassionate thing with my legs. I'm gonna show you a flower. This was yesterday's piece. And then I'll say goodbye. Aw, my hard eyes. Jeebies. Makes me gush every time. Look at that. Nice. Kira Verb sending the love as well. Nancy also liking flowers. What a pleasure it is to show you friends some stuff. Hey Zoe! Hey! Hey Zoe! Hello Zoe!
Say hi.
Hey Birdie! Say hello!
Say hi.
Say hi! Good girl! Good girl, Zoe!
He's like, take me out now.
Good girl, you want to go outside?
Say hi.
You say hello! Wow! Good girl! Good. You want out? Alright. We have done it, friends. Best burb. I appreciate you, friends, for joining me. I did, I think, write a little bit more. Just a wee bit more for this flower. Something like, rest them for now. Your mind and body, thoughts and insecurities, even hopes and dreams. Allow yourself to be unburdened by expectations periodically. And that feels like it sinks in with
The first card that you drew.
the first card and the topic for today, the no self. Right? No self means letting go of hopes and dreams and insecurities and thoughts and just being who you are. Friends saying hello to Zoe. You friends are cute. Thank you for joining us.
Hey.
It was nice having you here with us. Appreciate the presence. And we'll see you again tomorrow. Okay?
Love you, nerds and birds.
Nerds and birds. See you again. Goodbye, everybody. Love ya.